Hello everyone, welcome back to Our State's Builders. So it's technically been probably 3 to 4 weeks since we have been down here. It was just a little bit before Christmas. I think it was like 2 weekends before Christmas when we were down here last. But as far as it's looking like, as far as y'all are concerned, because of doing those videos on Saturdays, it will probably seem like there's been no time skipped at all, because there should be one video coming out tomorrow. Tomorrow is the next Saturday, and that video should be us replacing this rear beam here, which is one of the main load bearing walls. So that would be us repairing that one and the one underneath the kitchen. So the only sill beams, so this is a sill beam, and this bottom plate right here is sometimes referred to as a bottom plate for the wall. It can also be referred to as a sill plate. However, in new construction, a sill plate would be a usually a 2x6 that lays flat across all of this here, and then you put the sill beam on top of that sill plate. However, in these older homes, they are not designed that way. So there's no way to anchor them to this. This is a column here. This is what actually supports the whole house, is these columns. This area here is really more of just a decorative skirting. It just helps from the outside make it all look nice and even. Now, it will help support seams in the lumber, but it is not the main structural bearing. So if that comes apart, someone can always simply put it back with some repair mortar and brick, and it is not considered a structural repair. This is a structural repair because this is a column. So in that case, I know someone had noticed when we repaired this one over here that this skirting right here did move at one point, which is fine because, again, it is just a skirting. It moved and then it flexed right back in. But so we only have that little bit over there, and then that one up over there by that front door that we'll have to do. But I do not think that we are going to be doing that today. And there is the main reason is because the only ones here is me and Tyler. We're the only ones here today. My other two guys are over at the large 2-story addition. And what they're doing, so we poured the footers, then we had to build the cinder block walls, then we poured, just the other day, we poured the slab inside for the basement floor, and we poured the secondary footers, and they are over there. We put most of the stone in, and they're over there putting what little bit of stone is left and putting the last bit of cinder block up to tie the basement wall to the main house. So they're doing that today. Tomorrow, hopefully be able to get back down here with my father, both of them, both Austin and Flynn and Tyler. So, and actually, hopefully we will have Tyler's brother here as well to help us out. So in that case, there'll be a lot more people, and that will be a much safer time to try to repair this beam back here. The reason I don't want to try and do it with just the two of us is because it is dangerous, and if it's just the two of us working right there at that location and something happens, well, we're both right there. So there's no one to possibly do whatever needs to be done to get us out from there. So, and also just having at least 3 or 4 people there when you're jacking it up helps you be able to stabilize it much better. So in that case, with just the two of us, we're going to focus on a few other things today. What we are going to do is we're going to go ahead and probably dig the footers, or some of the footers, not necessarily all of them. More importantly, what I'm wanting to do is get this chimney and that chimney over there. I'm wanting to get both of them below the roof line. The reason being is tomorrow it is supposed to be a good chance of possibly raining. So if we can get both of those chimneys below the roof line, what that will allow is for tomorrow us to continue to take them down from inside the building. We're going to get them below the roof line. We're going to try and put like some trash bags or some heavy plastic. We've got some heavy plastic with us over those holes for now until we actually do fix the roof fully. But for now, we're just going to try and put some plastic of some kind over those holes to help keep some of the water out. We'll probably also try and get some of these other holes that are all around here, which will just help keep a little bit more water out until then. So we're probably going to try and get that done. Probably still dig some holes. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to pick a spot down here. So I'm thinking probably what I'm looking for down here is a spot where it doesn't look like there's a lot of drip. See right here, you can see where there's a lot of drip holes. That's where water has definitely been dripping down into this crawl space. So I'm looking for a spot that is pretty clear of those. And really, probably if we move this window over to that side there with the other ones, that seems to be pretty clear. So that's where we'll probably end up putting our pallet, and we're going to get all of this concrete, and we'll also get all of these 2x12s and 2x8s inside. Those will be for the for tomorrow when we do repair those. But we want to get this whole pallet of concrete underneath there. Again, we're not planning on doing that until tomorrow, but we needed to get it down here today because tomorrow's a good chance of rain. We'll also cover it with plastic while it's under there, just in case rainwater does get to it. But that's what we're going to do. We're trying to get it in there, up underneath, and have stuff set up for tomorrow, basically to where when we have a bunch of guys, we can get a whole bunch done. So first thing we're going to do is move all that concrete. All right, so that's step one completed. Got the dump trailer empty. Moved all this concrete and that wood. So after moving all those bags of concrete, it's 80 pounds each, 42 bags. So just a little bit of weight. But I think next thing that we're going to focus on is getting both of those chimneys down below the roof line. So I think that's the next important thing as far as being ready for tomorrow. And then on top of that, it'll kind of be a little bit of a break before we start digging. So we'll be swinging a sledgehammer, which is still not easy work, but easier than hauling dirt. So that'll be the next step we move on to. That was disappointing. All right, so that's one chimney down. We've got it about 3 feet below this the roof line right here. That should give me plenty of room once I'm below and I get up into the attic to still be able to get my bar in there to start tearing it up a little bit more. So not sure how well you could see, but a good majority of it we were able to just pull off with our hands. And that's this old mortar that they used way back in the day, and just the heat around here, that stuff doesn't last. So that's one of the main reasons that I tore the chimneys down, is because they're so brittle. And then on top of that, this is a very small house, and most people these days don't want a wood burning stove anyways. So if it was going to be my forever home, I would probably add another chimney. But at the same time, this is in a little bitty neighborhood with houses all around. That's not where I want my forever home. So, but again, if it was my forever home, I would love to have a fireplace in it. As a matter of fact, my wife might divorce me if our forever home doesn't have a fireplace in it. I'm just kidding, but she really wants a fireplace as well, a nice little cozy fireplace. But for the purposes of this home and how small it is, I'm not sure how, I know on video it may look even bigger than it is, but this house is not even 900 square feet. If we take some of the area where the porch is over here or something, we might be able to make it 900 square feet, but this is actually a very small home, and these chimneys take up a lot of room. So we're just removing them. They're so dry rotted. The way that they had those, I don't know if you could see, but that, so we've got these here. This is the second chimney, which one of my other guys had already started tearing it down. We just got to finish getting it down far enough. But these right here, the chase for the actual smoke and everything, the actual chimney chase, the way that they had them, the top one, between the top one and the bottom one, there was a good foot to 18 inches gap in between them. So smoke can easily get in there, get through creosote, get all inside in between them and down through the brick chimney, and then it can build up. And with that mortar not being sealed and solid as well, I mean, you're really inviting a lot of these homes. Actually, in this neighborhood, there are about 4 other homes that have burned down. So these chimneys are not safe. In most cases, they are simply, you know, they were put in with a different style of mortar than we even use today. And it's just, it gets real brittle in the heat. Then the smoke starts going where it's not supposed to. You get creosote built up inside there, not just inside these columns, which if you do a chimney sweep, the chimney sweep is going to clean inside here and inside here. But they can't get outside of there with their brushes, so they can't clean in between them. So all that creosote's still there, still building up. And then next thing you know, you've got a fire, and because of the fact that that brick is really not sealed well at all, that fire easily goes straight through the mortar and into your attic. And then next thing you know, you got a big old fire in your attic, and there goes your house. So that's the reason we're tearing these chimneys down. Again, I would love to have a fireplace in my final home. And, you know, if this was going to be my house, I'd probably would put another fireplace in, but I would have a completely brand new chimney built, and I would probably do it on the outside of the home. Like, it's just say, so the living room downstairs is in this area. I would probably have it just come up right along the eave there, come up right through there. And that would be, at least you'd have a nice, new, solid chimney. You could put in a nice, good footer that's designed for the weight of those very well, easily, without affecting the rest of the structure. It'd be real easy to do, but I would still, even if it was my home and I want a fireplace, I would still rip these down. So now we're gonna just finish tearing this one down to about the same depth as we did that one over there, about 3 foot below the top of the roof, and then we'll see what we can do about some plastic or something over the holes just to help. It's not going to make it rain tight. I'm not trying to make it rain tight. I'm just trying to keep out the majority of the water for now. And then hopefully very soon we'll be able to actually put a roof on it. But I want to finish repairing all the rotted structure underneath first, with all the jacking up of everything. So, all right, we'll get started with that. All right, so Tyler had a question that he wanted an answer to. So he said he came up with it when I was talking about the size of this house. I said that it is not even 900 square feet. And
so what's the average house? Like how much square footage is an average house?
So an average home that most people are going to have, that would be like a 3-bedroom home with a bath in it, even it's possibly just 1 bath. That average home is going to be about 1,200 to 1,300 square feet. That is a pretty standard home these days. And that is, these days, considered to be a standardized smaller home. So this little 900 square foot house right here, this was really, it's difficult getting a 3rd bedroom in here. If you squeeze a 3rd bedroom in, it's going to be really small. But yeah, this home, it's not even 900. So it's going to be pretty typical for there to be no more than 2 bedrooms. A kitchen, a bath. You don't even have you definitely don't have like a separate dining room, which usually in a 1,200 square foot home, your dining room is still part of the kitchen, roughly. Maybe slightly offset, but in this home right here, you definitely would not have a dining room. You just have a table kind of halfway between your kitchen and your living room. Pretty standard in that stuff. It's just you don't have a lot of room to work with, but that's what we've got here. So these houses still sell. They actually make great rentals, usually starter rentals for a young couple or a single individual who just wants to have their own place, rent it, you know, either to own or rent. But once kids start getting involved, most people consider this house is just too small these days. So, all right, I guess we're gonna go ahead and start tearing this chimney down now. Alright, so I'm not sure how much of the end of that you saw. When I went around there and looked at the camera, it looked like it's pretty dark. But from this angle, you can see a lot better. I mean, we are about the same as the other. We might actually be a little farther than 3 foot this time. But that's just where we ended up with a good point to be able to get the chute out that would be in the way. On the other one, the chute was a little higher. So, as I was talking about earlier about the creosote, so we pulled this section out, this section of the brick out in one nice solid section, solid-ish. I mean, I could still easily pull it apart if I wanted to, but I was trying to keep it together. Reason why is because you could see just how much built up creosote there is on that. Just look at how much there is. So when we pull out these chutes that are down in there, those are nice and clean on the inside, because again, the chimney sweep comes out with his nice big wire brush and he cleans inside the chutes, but he can't get outside the chute. And this is what's still in your chimney when you have a lot of these older homes, because the way that they were done. So in newer homes, it's going to be a fully sealed pipe, and it's going to be a fully sealed, that if those chutes were sealed, it would be a lot different. But because it's not sealed, again, that creosote still builds up in here. And then, let's see, I don't know how well you can see, probably can't see on camera, but like right here, I mean, there's a hole that goes all the way through that mortar right there. So as soon as a fire starts and air's right through there going through to the attic, it's going to just suck right into your attic. And then you now have an attic fire. So creosote, it should never, like, people might think like, well, the brick is the chimney. The brick is the fireplace in the chimney. Brick is not your chimney. Brick is a decorative feature to your chimney. The chute that's inside the brick is your chimney. This brick should be as clean on the inside as it is on the outside. When it's filthy and creosote like this, that means that your chute, the actual chimney, is not operating correctly. Instead, it's allowing that creosote to build up inside the decorative brick, which then can still cause a fire. So again, that's why I'm ripping these chimneys out. That way there's no worry about someone else possibly trying to make it a usable fireplace, and you know, then now they unknowingly cause themselves a huge risk, because most people do not understand and know about this. All right, so now we're going to get started and ready for digging. So what we decided we're wanting to do, again, right here where that chimney and that drop beam was, it came across to there. And then right here, they already had it kind of set up for slightly for a drop here. They just never used it. But we're going to go ahead and use it. We removed one top brick that was in between there. So the reason we did that is because when we come in here and frame later, because of what we're doing. So what they did over there is they notched the drop beam to sit on top of that, which technically makes it so that instead of them using a 2x8 there, they were really using a 2x4 drop beam, because the smallest position, the weakest point on that 2x4 determines, or I mean on that 2x8, where it's cut half of it out, which only makes it about a 3.5 inches, that determines what the structural preference is of the entire length. So it was really only a 2x4 essentially underneath those joists right there, because they had it notched. However, what we did right here, and what we will do the same thing over there, we'll cut it and then remove down the same thing as this. What this is this gives from just below that 3/4 board, we measured down 7 1/4 for our 2x8 floor joist. Then we measured down another 7 1/4 for the drop beam, and another 1.5 inches for the sill plate, which we will use when we put in these drop piers right there on top of that brick. It just creates another barrier that between the brick, which wicks moisture, and the wood. So we'll be using that there, and that is pretty much almost exactly where we need it to be. Now the other thing is pressure treated has a tendency to be a little thicker, so it may end up being dead on. But if not, we can use plastic shims because they do not rot, and they will, so they'll be able to be used there if need be to shim it ever so slightly. So that being our center point of our first drop beam that we want to go all the way across with. So we're going to, instead of just having one drop beam in the center like they did, we're going to have 1, 2, and then we'll do a third one halfway down that side. So we'll have 3. So structurally, it will be a lot better, and we shouldn't have to worry about anything sagging at all. But what we're going to do, so we basically just used a string line. We set a brick on top of it to help weigh it down right there. And we're going to do the same thing all the way on the other end. And that will help us get a nice straight line for all of the footers that we want to put in. For all the footers that we want to put in for those. So we're going to put a footer about every 5 feet. Supposed to be maximum you can do is 6, but I think we're going to go with 5. It'll just depend. What we'll do is we'll measure it off all the way down through there and then decide which creates a nice even spacing. So. All right, so very, very exciting. Whoopee, it's a hole. But it is 24 inches wide, 24 inches wide, both directions. This is the standard footer that is not connected to another footer. It should be 24 inches by 24 inches by 12 inches deep at the low point. So this ground slopes this way. So we made sure we're 12 inches there. On this side, we're probably more like...
That is showing almost 16.
Yep. But that's the low point. So it'll be, the concrete will be flush, level with that side. So that's what we got to get. We got to do that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more times down through there. And then we got to do it 6 times way over there. And we'll see, depending on how these chimneys are, how many times we got to do it through there. Hopefully we can use the chimneys as part of some of the piers. It just depends on how they are built at that point. Usually they should be solid once they leave the floor. Once they get below the floor level, they should be solid. So then we should be able to just take it down just enough where we can use it as a drop pier instead. That's probably where I'm going to leave the video today. We'll probably still dig a little bit more, but I don't think it's really that exciting just watching a bunch of holes. Like you saw, that took a while, and we got to dig all those down through there. Probably just do that off camera. We'll see how far we get with it today, and then they'll be digging some more tomorrow. But tomorrow, we'll get you hopefully some more exciting footage. Seems everybody likes the sill repairs, so we'll be working on that hopefully, and finish getting these chimneys down the rest of the way. At least, like I say, till we can hopefully use them for a drop pier instead. And if so, that'll be a lot better than what they did have in here. It'll create a much more solid foundation versus the little bitty, just basically a brick's width going up through sitting on just dirt. So we'll be hopefully having a lot better, more exciting footage. Again, I think we still got some decent stuff in here. Want to let y'all see basically hopefully just about everything on here in this job that we're doing, because this is my investment home versus a job where I have a set schedule and trying to get it done. But hopefully between today tomorrow we'll at least get y'all 2 more videos. before at that point, I really don't know when we'll get back down here, because starting next week, the entire foundation should be set up, ready for us to start framing on that large two-story addition. And once we start doing that, we're going to have to frame it, do the plumbing, do the electrical, do the HVAC, get it sheetrock trimmed out, and really just try and push that job to get it done with. We got to roof it as well, of course. And it's wood siding because it is in a historical area, so we have to do wood lap siding on it. Unfortunately, the historical district also requires them to paint it white. So why that is, I'm not sure, because historically it would have been stained. That is true. But it would not have been white. They would have. They actually had more of a two-tone system that they usually used, and we did this for another customer, and they actually tried to argue it. They even showed pictures to the historical district because they actually wanted to go historically, which really doesn't make sense that the historical district would not let them. So historically, it was actually more of like a peachish, brownish type color that was usually the main color, and then the trim work was usually a little bit darker brown shade than that. But they wanted to go with the historical colors, and the historical district told them no. They require it to be, it's like a alabaster white. So unfortunately, that is what the wood siding will get painted. There's nothing we can do about it. The historical district has required that to be that way. But so yeah, we'll be starting on that starting next week. And unfortunately, that will probably take up a good bit of time. Hopefully, maybe some weekend or something, I can still get down here and get something on it. But we will have this video and at least one more tomorrow, as long as the weather permits. We'll just see how it goes with that. But hopefully, we'll be able to do that. Hope you all enjoyed watching today, and we'll see you the next time.